me that green light. Give me that Greenlight Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that Greenlight Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that Greenlight Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that Greenlight Maine.
Welcome to Greenlight Maine for a winner's mentoring session. Here on Greenlight Maine, we are helping to grow Maine's economy one dream at a time. I'm Don Gooding with MCED, and I'll be moderating this discussion between entrepreneur and mentors, as I often do in my day job. With us in the studio is John Rooks of Rapport, as well as three mentors who are going to help Rapport to work through one of the business challenges for growth. So I'll introduce the three mentors in just a couple of minutes. But first, John, congratulations on advancing to the next round of Greenlight Maine.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, now you did a great job with your business partner on your pitch, but that was 6 months ago. So to refresh everybody's memory, we're going to go to the pitch and then come back and talk about a quick update.
Great.
So roll the pitch, please. Take it away, guys.
The easiest way to think about Rapport is it's QuickBooks for sustainability. So QuickBooks helps millions of small businesses around the world manage their financial health. Rapport helps those same companies manage their environmental health.
Here's an amazing fact I learned from McKinsey, the consulting company. Sustainability software is an $11 billion market today, and that consists almost exclusively of really big companies selling really big software to other really big companies.
We're not focused on those really big companies. We're focused on their supply chain. There are about 8 million small, mid-sized businesses in the U.S., and an increasing number have this new business requirement to share their environmental data with their biggest customers. We're focused on the 15% of them that have the most acute pressure today to disclose their environmental footprint with their customers. This creates a $4.3 billion opportunity for Rapport.
John, I want to tell them about the secret sauce.
It wouldn't be secret if you did that.
So now this is special sauce, and it's that Rapport has been engineered to propagate virally through those supply chains that John was talking about. It's also been priced specifically for small and mid-sized businesses. So starting at $99 a month, you get a platform that makes it crazy easy to measure your environmental footprint. It also helps you reduce your environmental footprint to save money, and finally, to communicate to your customers what your data and your status is.
I've been in the sustainability consulting space for 13 years. I've been on both sides of this equation. I've helped the big companies that Justin was talking about write procurement policies requiring this data from suppliers. I've also been on the supply chain side, and I've seen the panic in their eyes when they have to comply with these requests to maintain that contract. Quite simply, Rapport makes a difficult, time-consuming, and stressful new business requirement easy, beautiful, and affordable.
So Luke Livingston, the president of Baxter Brewing, said that Rapport is not only helping him save water and save the earth, but it's also saving him money. But Rapport is also helping a large financial services company with 2,000 employees in 10 countries. Across the spectrum, Rapport is transforming the way that companies are managing their sustainability.
We're looking for partners and we're looking for investors who see the financial scalability of Rapport, but who also want to be part of a movement that democratizes sustainability for millions of small and mid-sized businesses around the world. Thanks for your time. Let's build Rapport.
Well, John, that was an awesome pitch. Things move fast in a young company such as yours. Quick update?
Yeah, sure. So since that last pitch, we've taken on several large equity investments, one from Steve Case, founder of AOL.
That's awesome.
As part of his Rise of the Rest program. And then there were several other equity investments following on to that. We've received a development loan from Maine Technology Institute as well, and we've recently hired our first 2 full-time employees.
Great. Hiring here in Maine, just
right.
what we like to
That's
see.
right.
So I'd like to introduce our mentors now, but with a twist, because as you know, as we all know, great ideas come from can come from anyone. It's not about the credentials, it's about creativity. So I'm just going to introduce their first names, and so you're not going to know whether or not they're a corporate executive or a well-rounded doctor. So first, Carlos, welcome to the show.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so are you ready to ask some great questions?
Sure. I'm hoping to be a great help as I can.
Okay. Erica, welcome to you as well.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. So you're ready to bring all of your resources to help Rapport grow their business?
Got the creative juices flowing.
Okay, awesome. And then finally, we have John. Thanks for being here.
Delighted to be here.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure you've got lots of experiences that I think are going to be highly relevant to the issue that they're facing.
I hope so.
Okay, so there you have it. We have a winning entrepreneur. We have 3 anonymous mentors who are all ready to dig in to a very real challenge to growth. And so we'll be back after a short break to talk about that challenge here on Greenlight Maine.
Please visit greenlightmaine.com to follow the progress of your favorite entrepreneurs and find information and resources about becoming an entrepreneur yourself.
All across Maine, you see them. Children whose parents are investing in their education after high school. If your child is eligible for the Alphon grant, no initial contribution is required to open a NextGen account. Invest in your child's future. Learn more at nextgenforme.com. Before you invest in the NextGen plan, it's important to obtain and read the program description carefully. Check if your home state has a 529 plan that offers tax or other benefits.
It doesn't take much to change your entire travel experience. It's more than a flight, it's the whole trip. Connect to your world with daily non-stop flights to Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charlotte, and New York City. Portland International Jetport. Way better.
Please join us to find vital information on our website at greenlightmaine.com and be a part of our vibrant community on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Together, we're building Maine's future, one dream at a time.
We're back at Greenlight Maine with a winning entrepreneur and 3 anonymous mentors who are all ready to dig into a real challenge to growth. So, John, lots of success in the last 6 months, but there are, of course, lots of challenges. So what would you like to talk about today?
Yeah, so Rapport is really based on this passion for the environment, what today we probably call sustainability.
Right.
And part of that is that we're on a mission. We're on a mission to make sustainability accessible to millions of small businesses. It's very much of a passion play focused on triple bottom line, people, planet, and profits.
Okay.
But the company has to grow, and it has to scale. And so one of the things that myself and the other founders are concerned about is how do we scale this company and maintain the mission, right? So the question is, what are some genius ways that we can bake the mission of sustainability into our corporate culture?
Interesting. So that brings lots of questions to my mind. Carlos, you're first.
Well, thank you. Have you other companies that you've thought about that are great examples of mission-oriented companies that you're focused on?
Yeah, the easiest examples are companies like Patagonia, right? Which has a clear mission that's very similar to ours. They happen to do it through clothing and apparel, but they have a very similar mission. So I think Patagonia is sort of a good mark for us to shoot for.
Okay. Erica.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I was expecting you to have a question about how to make more money or something, but this is fascinating that you're looking inward at your own company. And so I guess I'd be curious to hear that I know you only have 2 full-time employees now, but the people who you would call the core team, what would be some, where do they rank in terms of their own personal sustainability? Are each of them already passionate, and how does that play out?
Yeah, I mean, we came together through the passion. So I think we all have a sort of a shared love for the environment, the outdoors. It's why we're in Maine.
Yeah.
It's why we want to grow the business in Maine. So I think we all share the passion. So there's no mission drift yet.
But you want to make sure that doesn't happen. John.
Well, it's an interesting issue. I love this company. I love this idea. I think it has to do with how you're recruiting. Are you going for skills? Or are you going for that passion? And I think, you can teach people skills. You can't teach them the passion. So I think in that context, it's all about recruiting the right, the right attitude.
Yeah, I think that's right on. You can't teach the passion. It's very true. And so when we are recruiting, that is part of the litmus test, I guess. Although that gets harder as you need more and more people.
Right. Interesting. So recruiting techniques will be one of the things to be looking at. Carlos.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit more about, what's success in the end? You've talked about a culture, but you have to have an end goal. So what is that end goal?
Again, we can look at the 3 bottom lines that we're focused on. It's focused on making the planet healthier for the people and the animals who live here, right? That's one of the bottom lines. But profit is definitely one of the bottom lines. In a previous business that I ran, we lost the mission. It was a similar mission, but we lost it as we grew. Business priorities took over. One of the bottom lines became more important than the others. And that's what I'm concerned about happening again.
Interesting. Erica.
Yeah, I would just wonder, it sounds like company culture-wise, you have these 3 Ps you've mentioned. I'm thinking of employee satisfaction, and if employees are passionate about the environment, and it's part of one of those things you're focusing on. I'm almost wondering if there's a 4th P here that is like passion.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting thought there, Erica. John.
Well, I also think John has a responsibility. If you take the Patagonia example, I mean, Yvon Chouinard was absolutely the inspiration behind Patagonia to where it started out of, making pitons out of the back of his truck in a parking lot at Camp 4 in Yosemite. So, it's about, you walking the talk everywhere you go. It's Yvon would do counterintuitive moves, that were radical, but then you looked at him more closely and you'd see that he really had his eye on the long term. And that's what sustainability is all about.
Yeah, the long term, exactly.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure there. So I'm going to ask a quick question though. So your product is all about measuring sustainability. So it occurs to me that as an ongoing basis, trying to figure out how you do that measurement. I don't know that that's something you've thought about yet, measuring it internally.
I don't think we've thought of it, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Yeah. Well, you use your own tool. Let the employees figure that out. Carlos.
So talk to me about balance. I mean, because you're not going to be successful if you don't get to where you want to be. That's right. And so talk to me about how you're going to balance those 3 Ps.
Yeah. I'm not sure how we balance it. I think on any given day, 1 P may be more important than another. And so it's probably a long view and not sort of a day-to-day decision-making perspective. But I think that's part of the concern is how do you measure? How do you balance each of these equally so that because if you can have an equal measures, you're infinitely more successful. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah. Erica.
I'm just thinking of how contagious passion is. And I'm wondering if you've thought at all about things you could put in place that would allow the passion that, obviously the founders are going to be the core of passion, as you were saying. Have you thought at all about things that could be in place to help model that passion? Make sure that passion isn't just something that you know about and that you take home with you, but that you can bring into the company culture. How can you show it off?
Yeah, I think making it visible, I think you're absolutely right on. And I love the sort of the contagion sort of metaphor of it, because I think you're right on.
Yeah. Quick question, John?
Well, I think the idea, there's always the usual policies of, corporate benefits, incentives, but it really gets down to like where you put your office, how that's all laid out. But it's also, there's something about, with Patagonia in particular, and I'll come back to that example, it was cool, and it is cool, to work for Patagonia. People they want to be associated with it.
Yeah. Okay. So you've had lots of ideas. So maybe build on some of those initial thoughts. So Carlos?
Absolutely. I'm going to stay with the passion component and say, well, how do you build that passion, but discipline around it? I mean, because if you think about it, chaos comes when you have passion unbridled. Right. So how do you keep that together? Yeah. How do you do the things that you need to do because you've got tough investors.
Right. Great, exactly. Erica.
I'm going to build on the idea you just brought up. I want to hear tangibly, where are you located? Are you in an office building? Are you kind of in a nature preserve kind of, I mean, like, what does it look like now tangibly?
Yeah, something else to focus on. John, some more initial thoughts
What
here?
kind of car do you drive? I mean, it gets down to, like, you know, where do you shop? And I hate to say it, but, you know, you're the brand.
Interesting. Well, I think you've got lots of ideas just to start off with now. So we're going to come back after a short break, and we want to hear what your thoughts are about how to address this challenge. Feel free to post your thoughts on Twitter at #GreenlightMaine or on our Facebook page. And so we'll be back after break with our entrepreneurs' reaction to all of these ideas here on Greenlight Maine.
We help businesses increase sales. We help increase sales by providing business owners, chief executives, and marketing managers with effective advertising strategies and marketing campaigns. We help businesses increase sales by providing practical advice and tactical plans that are meaningful and measurable. We can help your business increase sales. Find out how at SutherlandWeston.com.
Hi, Ross here for Dysart's Restaurant. Everyone's having meetings, meeting about this, meetings about that, meeting about meetings. How ridiculous is that? Got a meeting? Meet at Dysart's Broadway. Look at my chart. Dysart's Broadway's got 3 meeting rooms. A big one, a bigger one, and an even bigger one. And the big one and the bigger one can combine to be even bigger than the even bigger one. How ridiculous is that?
Great food, great service, and a great place for your meeting. Dysart's Broadway.
Big and bigger's bigger than even bigger.
Dysarts.com.
Ridiculous.
I'm not thinking about health insurance all the time, but when I do, I know that Community Health Options is there for us. Whether we're getting a checkup, a test at the lab, or we're in the hospital, Community Health Options is there every step of the way. They'll help you get the most of your prescription benefits and manage any ongoing conditions, so you can think about other things.
Member-centered Community Health Options. Sign up or re-enroll for 2016 at healthoptions.org.
If any of you in our television audience has a big idea, we encourage you to visit greenlightmaine.com for a list of resources and information about starting your own business.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. We've heard our Entrepreneurs Challenge. We've heard some great ideas from our 3 anonymous mentors. So, John, you got to pick one of those to try to continue the conversation now.
Okay. You know, I'm really intrigued by this idea of putting it in practice, right? We can write policies and procedures all day from an HR perspective that sort of demonstrate it, but I want to know how we can really practice sustainability and our mission on a day-to-day basis with employees.
Great. Any particular ideas you all have? Go ahead, John.
Well, I can jump in. I keep thinking about this, and you know, your clients. You can leverage your relationships with your clients. You know, partnerships with cool, if you will, partnerships with passion. I mean, maybe it's about bringing those clients up to the forefront because, you know, they can hold your feet to the fire when you're not in the room.
Yeah,
So.
Interesting. What I'm thinking there is imagine a storytelling like once a week where each employee has to tell the story of one of your customers and why they are passionate about sustainability.
Yeah, that's great.
Interesting. Other ideas? Sure.
Sure.
Carlos.
So, walking the talk. It's all going to be about that. It's what do you reward? How do you celebrate? What is the excitement that you bring every day?
Yeah.
I mean, what is a day at Rapport feel like?
Yeah. So have you been in environments before where it's got that occasional celebration?
Yeah, I think the concept of celebration is really, really important. I think that's a great takeaway, is to celebrate the little stuff, you know, and make it fun and cool.
Yeah.
That's where I'm excited with it is the fun side of things. I mean, even little challenges that could happen throughout the company culture. Everybody who rides to work this month gets this thing, or you know, there's incentives if you happen to drive a hybrid car. If you switch to a plant-based diet that's better for the environment, this thing.
And you can tie that into the fact that you're measuring things, so you can use your tool to help measure the stuff that is going to change and different ways of expressing sustainability. Cool. Any other great ideas here?
Well, I keep coming back to the idea that it's got to be consistent with the product you're selling. So you can't just be a cool company if you're not putting that out there as part of the, I mean, that cool can be a lot of things. In a Patagonia context, that means doing some really gnarly, outdoor, activities. So you have to think about Rapport and what is cool for Rapport.
Yeah, and I like the concept of sort of putting measurement on top of it, like a passion for measuring things. We can sort of weave those two things together, and then it is about the product, because I think you're absolutely right.
Well, great. So we've had lots of great ideas from our anonymous mentors, but now it's time for them to reveal who they actually are. So, Carlos.
I'm Carlos Mello. I am the Chief Risk Officer for the Finance Authority of Maine. And my role is to help grow jobs in the state of Maine by helping businesses succeed. So I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and we're very happy that FAME has been a sponsor, great supporter of the Greenlight Maine community. So thank you for that.
So John, nice to meet you. My name is Erica Allison. I work at the University of Maine, and I'm the project director at the RISE Center, the Maine Center for Research in STEM Education. So I'm an engineer and I'm a science teacher, and now I'm working on trying to strengthen science education across the state of Maine.
Another expression of passion, right? Totally. Absolutely. And?
I'm John Veman. I'm president of JVA Marketing, and we're based out of Rockport. And what I do is help companies, of course, with their basic marketing, but it's all about values-driven branding in the end. In other words, I coach them to get right to the heart of who they are, and then build their company around that. So it's,
and I'll just put in a plug too. John's also running the Top Gun Rockland program this year, which you just did Top Gun last year.
We did.
So anyway, so we have a big community all ready to help you. So we've now heard the identities of our three mentors. It's time to take a short break, and then we'll be back for some final thoughts here on Greenlight Maine.
As a leader in Maine and New England in providing integrated accounting, consulting, and tax services to clients large and small, the team at MacPage has proven to provide innovative solutions to help us better meet our clients' needs. We enjoy the people we serve and care about the work we do. The success of our business is based upon our ability to develop quality relationships, one client at a time. MacPage. Accessible, approachable, accountable.
There's a reason why these Maine kids are smiling. Their parents invested in their future success with a Next-Gen College Investing Plan account. If your child is eligible for the Alphon grant, no initial contribution is required to open a Next-Gen account. Invest in your child's future and see the smiles. Learn more at nextgenforme.com. Before you invest in the Next-Gen plan, it's important to obtain and read the program description carefully. Check if your home state has a 529 plan that offers tax or other benefits.
Please visit greenlightmaine.com to follow the progress of your favorite entrepreneurs and find information and resources about becoming an entrepreneur yourself.
We're back for some final thoughts here on Greenlight Maine. And I want to start by thanking the three mentors for being on the show, because mentors are so important to the success of businesses, as you know from the Top Gun experience. So some final thoughts, Carlos?
Well, thank you. Wonderful company, wonderful concept, wonderful culture. It's going to be critical to live it every day, as we've talked. And sometimes to have that hard decision when success has been had, but it wasn't done the way you wanted it. And you need to remind people that that wasn't really a success. And keeping that discipline is going to be so critical.
Yes, very interesting. Erica?
Now that I've revealed my identity, I'm thinking about teachers. And teachers have the most success when they are passionate about what they're teaching the students, right? So I just still think it comes back to you. I think that was the point you made. It really, I think the more that this doesn't feel like an initiative, it's something that you live and breathe, and therefore the people around you, it's something they live and breathe. It never goes away. It's always there.
So it's not just work. It's not actually work. It's just it's what you do.
DNA.
Yes.
Well,
John.
I think we're on a theme. I think it gets down to you really looking inside yourself pretty closely on this one. And it's going to mean at some point you're going to go from Chief Executive Officer, CEO, founder, to CIO, Chief Inspiration Officer.
So I like that.
I think that's one of the big shifts. That's the shift that's happened in the models we've talked about with the Patagonias of the world and even the LL Beans of the world.
True.
Yeah.
So.
And passing on that inspiration so that it actually doesn't have to be just you every day, that pretty much every employee feels empowered to be pushing that forward.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, John, a lot of ideas here today. What's your big takeaway?
Yeah, so, I think there are so many takeaways, but I think focusing, I love this idea of marrying the product to the mission, right? This concept of making measurement part of the process and part of the passion as well. I think that's a really cool way to sort of connect product, people, and the culture of the business.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was Peter Drucker who said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Right. And we want to build that culture that makes a bulletproof company.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm very excited about the potential for Rapport going forward. You're off to a great start. And also, best of luck to Rapport in that next stage of the Greenlight Maine competition, which does remind me. So for those of you in the audience, please watch our Facebook page and greenlightmaine.com for announcements about the rest of the competition. We're going to have a live event to narrow down our 13 competitors to 2, followed by the final 2 weeks of our online competition, where you can pick a wild card from any of the 26 original companies that participated from the beginning of Greenlight Maine. And then finally, we'll have a televised championship event where one of those 3 companies will walk away with $100,000. We'll also let you know when we start accepting video pitches for next year's competition. And remember, if you want to start your own business, greenlightmaine.com has lots of resources for you. So keep thinking big and keep the positive feedback coming, especially for the companies you see on the show, because together the Greenlight Maine community is helping to grow Maine's economy one dream at a time.
Greenlight Maine has been brought to you by the Finance Authority of Maine. Fame works for me. Greenlight Maine would not be possible without the support of all of our corporate sponsors. Thank you. Prize money for Greenlight Maine provided by Maine Accelerates Growth through a grant by the Maine Community Foundation. Outreach and community engagement in partnership with Maine Startup and Create Week. Furniture for Greenlight Maine provided by Thomas Mosier. Handmade carpets for Greenlight Maine provided by Mugalian Rugs. Broadcast facilities provided by the New England School of Communications at Husson University.
Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
Greenlight Maine has been a paid-for presentation by the Portland Media Group.